Hi, welcome. It's Jen. I'm so glad you're here. If you haven't already, if you could just subscribe to this channel, I'd appreciate it. Today we're going to do I'm going to show you how I do a base face. So this is kind of like my go-to, my everyday underneath my makeup type of stuff that I do. And I do my skincare first. So that's like the most important thing, is to get your skincare done. That's your best base for any face, quite frankly. But this is like what I normally do just before I add extra color. So before I do my eyes and anything like this is pretty much the standard. So I did my skincare first, and then the next thing I do is I want a really good primer. So I use SeneGence MakeSense Silk Pore and Wrinkle Minimizer. And so this is amazing because it mattifies my skin. And it also fills in any pores and smooths out any wrinkles and just gives you like that really nice base to start with. So I just put that on my finger. Now with this, it's a little counterintuitive because you're going to go in a downward motion where you have pores that you want to fill in. So the pores that you want to fill in point up. And so this, when you go down, it actually fills in those pores much better. And you just kind of like use it where you want to use it. And I like to use it everywhere. So that's what I'm doing. But where I have the pores, I go down. Like I get bigger pores around this area. You may have different areas for you. All of our faces are different. That's what makes the world wonderful, right? Is all the variation. All right. So here we go. And then you're going to let that sit for just a few minutes. Okay, I let that sit for a couple of minutes. And so the next thing I'm going to do is my foundation. So I vary between the type of foundation that I use depending on how my skin looks that day and depending on the degree of coverage that I want, sometimes depending on the time of the year. All those things come into place. But most often what I use is a color correcting tinted moisturizer. If I want a lot of coverage, then I'll use a foundation, but the MakeSense Color Correcting Tinted Moisturizer is the one that I use by SeneGence. I go in the shade light or light medium. I still have light medium left over from the summertime, and right now as of this recording, it is January. So you can see that like I've got a decent amount left still, and with that air pump it gets me like all the product that I need. But anyways, so tinted moisturizer gives me that color correcting. So you see I got some redness going on, so it's a color corrector, so that's going to eliminate that redness and even out my skin tone. So that's what I really like to use for that reason. Sometimes I'll even wear it underneath my foundation just to get that color correcting. Is really nice. And I'm not doing full pumps, I'm doing just like partial pumps. Oh, look at that. I got a little bubble, an air bubble. There we go. See, it had to move up. All right. Then I like to use a kabuki stipple type of a brush. I use the Sigma. What is this one called? It's the Sigma F80 Flat Kabuki. I really like this brush. You want synthetic bristles when you're working with any type of cream product, and everything that I'm going to use today is a cream product. I don't use powder products except for the powder that I use as a finishing touch. So synthetic brush, and then I just kind of tap in a little bit of a downward motion again. Now you could use a beauty blender. Make sure that you get it a little bit wet and then squeeze it out so that it doesn't soak up your product. It will work to distribute your product more evenly. If you don't have any tools, like you don't have a beauty blender and you don't have a brush, you can use your fingers. It's totally worth investing in something like this though, because when you just use your fingers, you're gonna use a lot more product and you're just pushing it around your face. Even if you do like little tapping motions and things, you are just soaking up that, or just like moving it around your face, versus having it stay where you put it. So it's really worth it, especially if you're using nicer products, higher quality products, because you want those to last longer. So that's what's kind of nice about the tinted moisturizer too. Like everything that I'm using today is long wearing and anti-aging. So I really like SeneGence for that because I don't have to screw with it. Once I have it on, then I'm good. Okay. You see how that just like evened out my skin tone? It doesn't look as red as it did before. Now you could always layer on more if you needed to, or you could use a foundation if you need more coverage. The MakeSense Foundation by SeneGence, I highly recommend. So yeah, not bad. Just nice tinted moisturizer. Love it. Okay, so then the next thing that I do is anything that still needs a little more coverage, I'm going to use some concealer. So I either use concealer or sometimes I'll use Candlelight ShadowSense by SeneGence. But today I'm going to use the concealer. So I go back and forth. It's nice to have options. So I use the light concealer by SeneGence. And I'm just going to put a little bit of this on my hand, actually. And we're going to put this around my nose here. Sometimes my nose gets a little more red than other areas. This isn't the brush I meant to grab, but it works. This is what I meant to use. My Soft Blend Concealer Brush F64 by Sigma. So this is an amazing concealer brush. I use this definitely more under my eyes, like after I put on my makeup sometimes to clean up. So I'll like use it and swipe right here for my concealer. So you can either put on your concealer after you do your eye makeup or before. There's no rules. And you could always go back and use your concealer to clean up any mistakes or things like that. All right, I am going to brighten up a little bit underneath my eyes. I could have used a little bit of white concealer with the regular light concealer, but I'm going to actually use Whisper Pink ShadowSense. Now, this works so good. So it's shadow, but you can actually use it for so many things. I've got a video about that, the many uses of ShadowSense, so you can look that up. But so I'm putting it in this area, but ultimately what I'm going to end up doing is making like a triangle out of it. But I don't need that much product, so I'm going to use my brush to create that triangle for me, because a little goes a long way. Ta-da! All right, and then I do contouring most every day. So just because it's actually really easy to do, believe it or not. And I think it makes a difference in the shape of my face. So I like to use the deep color correcting tinted moisturizer, or I use a darker foundation. So I actually had one of these lying around, so I decided to open it. This is Coffee Advanced Anti-Aging Foundation by SeneGence. And as of this recording, this one's actually 25% off on my website. It's in the last chance section, which is not in the face products. So you have to look in the last chance section because it's being discontinued. The color's not, the formula is. The advanced anti-aging is being discontinued. Anyways, so I just put the tiniest little bit on here. I don't need a lot. This is really dark for my light skin. All right. And then I put it right on my cap there and just kind of like move it around a little bit. And then I'm going to go in this area. So I'm just kind of going into the hollows of my cheeks there. I think I went a little too high there, but that's okay. I can fix that. I'm going to put some down here to hide that extra chin I got going on. And then a little bit around my hairline. So now I'm going to take a different brush to blend this, because I have enough product on my brush. I don't need more product on my face. And that brush is full of product now, so. And see, I just like pull it down, because you don't want like this massive line. Let's see how it just gives my face some definition. So I really like it in these areas, right up here and right here. That's where I usually do my contouring. If you need more contouring help, let me know. I'm happy to help you. Okay, so I need to put some color back on my face, which I did a little bit with the contour, but now I want to add some blush. So for blush, you can either use BlushSense, which comes in, I think it's 7 different colors. Works great. It's going to last you forever. But you could also use Shadow, and I like using Shadow, really. Just because it's easier to work with, I think. And so I'm going to be using more coral kind of orangey shades today. So I'm going to use Pink Posey ShadowSense. I love this because I can use this for so many things. And I'll probably end up actually using this Pink Posey in my eye look that I'm going to end up doing today. So I'm just going right above, like I'm kind of like at my cheek area right here where it gets the fullest, but I'm going to go a little bit above that. Just kind of like right there. And see that? Just a couple little dots. And then I'm just going to take my brush. I'm going to blend that out. Simple. Isn't that nice? So easy. So same thing over here. Boom, blush is done. Now, after I do my makeup, what I end up doing, like all of my makeup, including my brows, my, everything else, not my base face. After I do all of that, what I end up doing then is powder on top of everything. And I also use Pearlizer. So I'm actually going to do the Pearlizer right now, and I'll do the powder later, so you guys won't see that. But I'm going to use the Pearlizer right now. I love this stuff, you guys. It's an amazing illuminator. And so I just used way too much. You don't need that much. But so I just, look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? You really don't need much. Look at my ring light. You really don't need that much though. So I just put it on there. And then this is the brush I meant to use for this, not for the concealer. All right. And then look at this. You see that? It's gorgeous. It just absolutely brightens up your face. So this is going a little bit above that blush. Goes on my nose right here. It goes right here on my forehead. Kind of like an upside down triangle. My chin right here. Above my lip right here. And then I'm just gonna lightly blend that. So like I'm lifting my brush out. So I'm like literally barely touching this. And this just gives you like that nice dewy natural glow. Doesn't that just make such a huge difference, you guys? I love it. This is also really fun to put in your lotion. So you put it on your lotion and then your shoulders, they look all nice. And I love So that's my base face, my standard that I do on almost every single day, almost every single look. Again, there is some variation sometimes between if I use candlelight or if I use light concealer, or variation between if I use color correcting tinted moisturizer or if I'm going to use MakeSense Foundation. Just kind of depends on how my face is feeling that day and how I'm feeling that day. If you guys have any questions, if you could just drop them in the comments, I'm really happy to help. If you haven't already, if you could just go ahead and subscribe to this channel, I'd appreciate it. You can check out more information on my blog at www.jenn-nyberg.com. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.